你好，因为长毛不熟，我的第一问，我可保持这个段，首先 check in， 锵锵。The Great Wall. I mean, I have to say that when I saw the trailer, this didn't excite me very much. I mean, when you watch the trailer, it's all very Lord of the Rings like. It's all people like riding around horses. There's like, you know, there's monsters everywhere. It's just like I've seen all of the Lord of the Rings films just once. I can't sit through them again. I was thinking this was going to be kind of the same thing, innit? We watched it the day before we went to see it, and we were just like, oh, we don't really want to see this, do we? But that being said, I spoke to a lot of people as well who actually were. They saw the trailer and they actually really liked it. And the trailer actually made them want to go and see it, but it didn't happen to us. So we're very boring people. I think so. When we even sat the first like 10 minutes of the film, it was just like yeah, people riding around horses, and it was all very fancy like for the first 10 minutes, and it's just like, oh, okay, this is only 100 minutes long. I can do this. I can do it. And on top of that, there was Matt Damon's accent. I was trying to work out what he was trying to do in the beginning. Was he trying to be British? I couldn't work out what the hell Matt Damon was trying to do with his voice. I don't think he was trying to do anything. Maybe, I don't know, but it just sounded like he was confusing me with his voice. But it all suddenly turned off like 10-15 minutes. It jumped straight into one of the action scenes you see in the trailer. It jumped straight into that in the first 15 minutes. It's not like you wait until the end for that to happen. It just jumps straight into it. It's like it pulls you into the action straight away, and it's awesome. You're thrown into this massive battle between humans and monsters. There's just severe casualties from both sides. You know, this warrior's just being slaughtered left, right, and centre, and it's just like you're at the end of it. You're just like you're feeling sorry for these Chinese people who are just trying to defend their wall from these monsters. It's like it is by that point you forget about Matt Damon's accent. You just think, okay, this is quite good. The only bad thing I'm going to say about it is the fact is the dialogue was a bit clunky. But then I suppose you had like a director directing in Chinese. Like English isn't his first language, so that might have something to do with it. I don't know. I think for once in a film, like the monsters seem quite terrifying. I mean, they were incredible. They were really well designed. The CGI was just amazing through the film. I would say it's just like some of the best looking CGI I've probably seen in a film. Usually I'm not really blown away by CGI, and it's like this time it blended in with the whole film. It was all like very visually epic. It was very colourful. It was intense. It was action packed. It was great paced. You don't get bored through it. You're not sitting like just like thinking, oh, my bum is hurting or anything like that. You're just like it just keeps you really interested the whole way through it. And because it's only like 100 minutes long, it goes really quickly. I wasn't looking forward to seeing this film, but it gave us like 100 minutes of it just made us escape from reality, and it just completely blew us away. And I think because we went in with low expectations, that is why we enjoyed it so much. The Odeon were really amazing. They let us see it in like IMAX and 3D, so we saw it on the big screen. Like the 3D was outstanding. Like we flinched like a couple of times through it. There's stuff coming out of the screen. It's just like it's some of the best 3D I've seen in the film as well. I do understand that IMAX is a bit more pricey than like going to see it in regular like 2D, but I would like suggest enough seeing it IMAX 3D, because it's like I'm not sure what it would look like in 2D, but IMAX 3D was just like it blew us away, and we weren't excited about the film. I think if you're excited about seeing the film, if you're looking forward to it already, you have to go and see it in IMAX 3D. So that is the first film review today. Absolutely love The Great Wall. And remember as well, we're not fantasy fans. We're not into the whole like horseback and like monsters everywhere. Ooh. We're not into any of that, and it's like we loved it, and that's surprised. I'm surprised even now we liked it. So that's The Great Wall. Next up was John Wick Chapter 2. And this is because last week you couldn't decide if you wanted me to see The Great Wall or John Wick Chapter 2, so I just went and saw both. And once again, the Odeon really spoiled me. They put me in D-box seats to watch John Wick Chapter 2. And I had the intensity turned all the way up, and I'll tell you more about that later though. If you haven't seen the first John Wick film, you might want to go and see that one before you see this one. You probably don't have to, but it does fill in a lot of the gaps, and they do tell you a lot of the stuff in the second film about the first film, which is good. It's handy, but it's like it doesn't tell you everything. Like my memory was a bit vague at the first one. I remember like his dog got killed and he went killing people because his dog got killed, and yeah, that's pretty much all I can remember. The second one comes in kind of just after that, like immediately after that. It's the opening sequence to John Wick Chapter 2 is kind of like Taken 2. It's like Taken 2 is about one of the relatives of the bad guys coming back for revenge, and the opening sequence for John Wick Chapter 2 is about one of the relatives of the bad guys from the first one. It's a good opening sequence, it is, and there's a really funny line that had the whole cinema laughing as well. That was great. And maybe like 20 minutes after that, a bounty is put on John Wick's life, and pretty much he's just being hunted by a lot of other bounty hunters in America, which means he is kind of on the run for the whole movie after that. Again, this is another film I absolutely really enjoyed. The action and fighting choreography was outstanding. There's just like a couple of scenes with like John Wick and Cassian who were their fight scenes were always just so intense. They really were. One action sequence, they're running up alongside cars, just one's on one side of the car and one's running up this other line of cars, and they're just like having this shootout. Just they're not so far away from each other. It's crazy. It's just like, it's the way it was done. It was just executed amazingly. And there's also this other bit where they're in this like underground station, and one's up high and one's down low, and they're just like, there's always people walking around, but they're just like they're shooting each other like really with silencers and everything. It's just it's great. It's so tense. I think it was great that it was all live action. Like compared to the Great Wall, like Great Wall was completely like CGI ridden, but it was still great. But this one was like live action, and it's always good to see live action over CGI. I think there was one thing that was actually like I was wandering through the film. It's like I was watching, and there's lots of like all the blood spurts, and I thought, now are they actual visual effects or is that CGI? Because I couldn't work out if the blood spurts were visual effects or if it was CGI. I'm still like wondering to this moment, because it was just so well done. You think, how the hell did they do that? So that's got me, I'm gonna have to buy the Blu-ray to look at the behind the scenes footage, I reckon. It was a great film. I absolutely loved every minute of it, and it was just really well done. And like going back to what I said before, I was in D-box seats, and in the whole film there's just so much action. There's so much fighting, there's so much shooting, there's car chases, there's everything. It's just so much action happening that when it happens, you really feel it in the D-box seats. There was a guy sitting in the row in front of me, and he was like, I could see him being thrown about in his D-box chair, and it was just like, it was making me laugh a little bit, because the guy was just, this is what he looked like, this is what he looked like. So that's the second review of today. Again, it's another great film. You've got The Great Wall was great, John Wick 2 was great. With John Wick 2 as well, they have set up for another sequel, it looks like. Run, John Wick, run. And you better run some more, keep running. And in the middle of John Wick 2, there's a very surprising matrixy cameo from someone. Obvious. I know Keanu Reeves sometimes gets a lot of slating for his acting, but I think it's like I think what he does, he creates sympathy from this character. It's like you do feel sorry for him the whole way through. Everyone's just after him for no reason. The poor guy just wants to like live with his dog. That's what he wants to do. And everyone's just like chasing him and trying to kill him. You do feel sorry for him, really. So the final verdict of John Wick, it's slick, there's some funny one-liners, and it might just be worth seeing the first one before you see this one, just in case your memory is also a bit vague. I wish I had done now. Next up is a film that I saw for me, not for you. So this week I gave you a choice of which film you'd like me to see. You chose The Great Wall and John Wick Chapter 2. The week before that, I gave you the choice between like 50 Shades Darker and The Space Between Us. Now I really wanted to see The Space Between Us, and I thought, you know, I'm just gonna go and do this for myself because I really want to see this one. I was really intrigued by the trailer for The Space Between Us. It's really strange that I was drawn to the trailer for The Space Between Us. I don't know what it was. I thought I just watched it. Oh, this looks like a really good film. This looks great. And then I walked in the cinema, and it was just full of teenage girls in there, and I was like the only bloke in there. It just got me questioning why I was so drawn to the trailer when all it had done was attract loads of teenage girls to go and see it. And the only conclusion I could really come up with is that I was just trying to please the inner teenage girl in me. I do have to say, I don't regularly go to the cinema where there's lots of teenage girls in there, so it was quite an eye-opener when I saw that most of them just talk all the way through the film. And I'm not talking whispers, I'm talking like proper like out loud talking like I'm doing now. There was just two girls sat along the road from me, and all the way through they would just give me this like ignorant narration of the whole film as it went along. And then when the film was getting serious, like on a serious note, they'd just giggle all the way through it. I do want to go off into a bit of a tangent here about people that talk through films when you go to the cinema. This happened to me during The Great Wall. There's some Chinese girls in the row behind us, they were talking all the way through it, and it happened to me obviously in The Space Between Us. These girls were just talking all the way through it. I think you have to remember, and you're not the only ones in the cinema. If you're going to sit there and have a conversation with your friend, remember it's not just you in the cinema. Other people are paid to see the film. So I really think it's just really selfish of you to think that you can actually carry on talking, have a conversation with your mate like you're in your own living room. You're not in your living room. Other people would pay for the experience. When I was working at how much money people would pay for the IMAX 3D seats to see The Great Wall, people don't want to come and hear people's conversations. They pay that much money. They pay for the film experience. They don't come and listen to you. So I'm just going to say, if you are one of these people that goes in and just chats through the whole way of the film, just stop it. Just stop it. There's even a big like notice at the beginning that tells you to turn your mobile phones off and stop talking. There's a big sign at the beginning of the film that tells you to stop doing this. Don't do it. It's fucking irritating. Okay, ran over. Come back from the tangent. Anyways, back to the film. So the story is about the first spawned human on Mars, and he travels back to Earth, and basically his adventure just goes from there, really. I don't want to give too much away. I think even when I saw the trailer and when I saw the actual film, I think the story is very much like E.T. It's like someone travels to Earth, they develop an allergy to Earth, and then they have to go home. So that is pretty much how it is, and it is very much similar to E.T. I mean, the lead actor did a really good job. He kept the character consistent the whole way through, because his character is the first one being on Earth, so he was battling with how heavy he felt from the gravity, and he just every time he walks, he just pulled it off. It was great. I think he's done a really good job. The lead actor was great. I would say his name, but I can't pronounce his first name, so I know his surname's Butterfield. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's either Asa, I don't know. I don't want to embarrass myself. But anyway, well done, Mr. Butterfield. Good job. There is a twist at the end of the film which I did kind of catch on to, and it was like lingering in my mind from the very beginning if it was going to happen or not. It did happen, so there is a twist if you like your twists. Even the girls sitting along from me are very taken aback by this as well. Oh my God, you're messing. I guess my only dig is the fact it was 120 minutes long, and I think it could have been a lot shorter than that. I mean, it could have been like 90 minutes, I reckon. So if you're not a teenage girl and the trailer still attracted you and you still like to see it, The Space Between Us is still playing occasionally at Odeon's at the moment. It's been taken off a little bit, but it's still playing at a few Odeon screens around the country. But I was suggest going to see it this week because it might be taken off maybe the week after. So there you have it, that is 3 film reviews for you. I'm spoiling you this week, that's because the Odeon have completely spoiled me this week. They've given me films in IMAX 3D, D-Box seats, and I just want to say a huge thank you to the Odeon for letting me have this chance to see these films. Thank you very much, Odeon. I'll be back tomorrow and Wednesday with a couple more trailers, and that's when you're going to get the chance to choose which of those films you want me to see this week. And there's only 2 films to choose from this week, so that would make it a little bit easier for all of us, wouldn't it? See you tomorrow, fellow Earthlings.